Welcome back to Supergirls podcast, The Hero Whispers. We have a show like you have never heard before. Today, we have the Queen of Kindness as our guest, Elizabeth Berry. Oh my God, wait till you hear her, what she has to say. It is so exciting to have someone that embraces kindness and goodness the way this woman does. Amazing. But before that, we get into that, just a little 4-in-1 on the show in case you're listening for the first time. Supergirls is a platform that was created to inspire and empower college women to launch, to transition into the real world. And I'm the founder, Jeannie McPhillips, Jean Marie, and I started this podcast to help inspire these women with stories of amazing people. And also stories of the college girls themselves to really help them get out there and, get their foot in the door, wherever that may be. So we help the girls with tools like career counseling, career clarity, networking, mentoring, and personal branding, and anything they need to really excel when they launch. So thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being with us. Let's get to our guest. I am super honored and privileged to have Miss Elizabeth Berry, the Kind Communicator. She is an inspirational author, keynote speaker, and performance coach. Her expertise in kind communication and compassionate leadership strategies energize audiences to charismatically step into their highest self. Hire her to speak, coach, or curate kind communication workshops and book signings at your global conference, organization, or corporate office. She's the author of 3 books, Own Your Vulnerability, The Kind Communicator, and Design Your Mind to Be Kind. She hosts a podcast, Beyond Ego. Be inspired, be empowered. Let's welcome Elizabeth to the show. Thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you for letting me be here and to share my kindness electricity, or what I like to call it.
Okay, I have never met anyone with this value proposition of kindness. I mean, actually, my sorority in college, Tri Delta, is actually one of their core values is kindness. It was founded on kindness, actually sisterhood and people supporting each other. But this is beyond. What you're doing is beyond. So first of all, I just want to say congratulations, and we're in love with what you're doing. And we just want to know, how did you get here, and what inspired you to focus your life's work on this?
Yeah, it's been a journey. I started out as a marketing consultant, and I've been in B2B my entire life. But there was a point in my life where in both B2B and B2C, and if you're a college age student, you don't know what that means yet. Business to business is B2B, and B2C is business to consumer. So when I was consulting clients, we were building websites, 15, 20 years ago. This is before YouTube, before Facebook. And there was a lot of pushback. A lot of my clients were first-time entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs that were rebranding after 20 years, and they were so stuck that they didn't know how to. They didn't understand technology, and there was a lot of pushback from clients. And I had to learn as an entrepreneur how to deal with difficult conversations and complexities. And I started realizing that the kinder I got when they were more irate, the better the situations were. And then it happened again when I at some point in my career, became very into health and wellness. I owned a Pilates studio, and I was the owner manager. I was the person behind the desk. And I realized, wow, customers are pretty crazy. They're demanding. And the way that I combated my reaction to their reaction was through kindness. And at that point, I started writing The Kind Communicator. And from there, everything just started to build, and it just made sense. It just makes sense.
It does make sense. When you're in client service and customer service and human service, It does make sense. I mean, my mom used to say you get more flies with honey than vinegar, and it's really kind of the same. I mean, the same idea. It's very basic. I mean, compared to how you've really studied it and attacked it, but it's true. And so it certainly has worked for you in your career and being able to go out and make a living out of speaking about it. So how did you kind of pivot from being, a consultant, a marketing consultant, to doing this like full time and becoming an author? Were you always a writer?
I liked writing. As a marketing consultant, I was not only the person consulting, I was the person that was writing their content on their websites, creating the campaigns. I loved content writing. So I was the person behind very successful campaigns and logos and taglines, you name it. But what happened was I got coached. I wrote Own Your Vulnerability, my first book, because of a relationship breakdown, and I was crushed. He went to LA. I was supposed to go with him, and I was left home. And he kept judging me. I didn't know how to speak up for myself. And that's where, as you said before, with the honey and the flies, that's a simplistic version. But what my kindness innovation really means is that we learn to speak up, speak our truth kindly, directly, and thoughtfully. And there was a time where I didn't know how to speak up for myself at all. In fact, I was a reactor. I was a door slammer. I used to yell. I grew up in an Irish family. That's all I was taught how to do, until I realized that was not effective. And I was the person who got coached. And after I got coached the first time, it was actually Gary Bishop. He's the author of F Yourself. I don't want to say the full word. And so it was then that I realized the value that coaching taught me as an adult. And everything that I thought was not right. And my vision of the world was through such a very small lens. And at that point, I said to myself, my life changed so dramatically that I wanted to make dramatic changes in everyone else's life. So that's how I started spinning it. And when I was doing that, I had written The Kind Communicator, and it was just 20 years of listening to Wayne Dyer and Eckhart Tolle and all of the great leaders, from Buddha to Ram Dass. I'm into yoga and meditation, and I find that the more love we can give to ourselves, self-love, compassion, and empathy, the greater we can speak, the better we can listen, and the more eloquent we show up in life, whether it's speaking or through listening, nonverbal communication, as well as our approach to every relationship. It's really transformative.
It really is an unbelievable point of view. And especially now, the world right now with everything that's going on, it is so, if people could just, I had a friend of mine who was a guest speaker in one of my classes come in and talk about it, called it the great pause. And it's like true, but the great pause can bring great things, because you have time to really reflect and think about some of these really important things that, like you saying, like, are transformative.
It's the pause is needed, but I really, my hope is that everyone truly is taking that self-reflective pause, and not just a pause because they have to.
Yeah, well, it's the perfect time to do that. It's so funny that you said that about the Irish family, growing up in an Irish family and having people screaming and yelling. I grew up in an Italian family, and I thought that's what we did.
I get along really well with Italians.
There you go. There's the connection right there, baby girl.
Yes.
Love it. OMG. So wait, so the Kind Communicator was your first book, or Own Your Vulnerability was your first book? Which one was the first one that you wrote?
Own Your Vulnerability was first, and then I wrote The Kind Communicator, and I was already writing Design Your Mind to Be Kind once I started The Kind Communicator. I mean, we already had the idea for the cover, which wasn't even the cover, but I knew that I was going to write a sequel to it. And yeah, the latest book is Design Your Mind to Be Kind. And the principles they stem from reality. I call myself the elephant in the room. I'm the one who stands in front of you with the mirror to talk about your muck. And a few people have even said to me, I have your book, it's sitting on my coffee table, but I'm scared of it. And we laugh and we cry together. I have so many women calling me crying. And then there are certain points in the book where people, I ask everyone, if you're really into it, send me what you're learning right now. And a few people sent me PDFs and Word documents of what they're learning. Like the greatest thing is that, personal and professional development was not taught in school. And when we tap into it, it's rather difficult in the beginning. I mean, it's taken me 20 years to become who I am today, and it's going to take me another 80 years to become an even better person. So anyone who's listening right now, who's tapping into that kind communication, speaking your truth, I mean, what does it all mean? What does it mean? It means to really stand in your power. And that's a difficult thing to start your journey on. But as long as you have a mentor or a coach to help you guide everything that you say and you think and you do and align all of those thoughts, you can really soften into it and enjoy the journey.
I really want to weave some of these messages into my work with Supergirls. We have a mini boot camp coming up at the end of the month, and it's a live Zoom event, and I may have to invite you to Zoom Bomb and just say a couple of your powerful words. Because when I was on one of your in the leadership series, I would love for you to talk about that too. And I heard, some of the things that you were telling the community, and it was just, I had shivers like up and down my spine. Like it was just so cool. So yeah, can you talk about that leadership series that you're doing and working on right now?
Yeah. So, what I was actually asked to do it. So someone was saying, we're all at home, we're stuck at home, and, we have meeting. We need a little bit of comfort, like a dose of reality, a dose of Elizabeth. Everyone wants a little bit of Evie time, which is beautiful to hear. So I created a leadership series just based upon what I think that people would need right now, which is calm as a superpower. On this Friday, I'm going to be doing a 3:00 session on the eloquence in writing and speaking based upon my authorship and based upon my 17 TEDx events that I've curated, marketed, and promoted, creating curiosity in communities. And I'm continuously inspired to give back to the world. And a lot of people don't have funds right now to invest in a coach or a consultant. So I did a great Facebook Live yesterday, and I told everyone, if you're coming to my leadership series, whether I inspire 1 people, 2 people, 15 or 100, and as much as you think it's for you, I'm doing it for me, because as a global speaker, I don't have the opportunity to be on stages. I'm continuously honing my skills so I can practice in my living room. You never want to let any time go down when you're not honing your craft. So that's a little bit of something that came out of this too. I'm really doing it for myself, which is so important for every woman to hear. What are you doing for you?
Well, it goes back to what you said earlier on. I mean, the self-love comes first, because out of that, the other stuff grows. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as women, we don't always do that. We always taking care of everyone else, as a parent, as in a relationship, a sibling, or a daughter. So we do have to be constantly reminded of these things, and it's okay. Especially, I mean, I Italian Catholic.